जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की। श्री कृष्ण शरणं समस्त जगता कृष्णं विना का गतिः। कृष्णेन प्रतिहन्यते कलिमलं कृष्णाय कार्यं नमः। कृष्ण त्रस्यति कालभीमभुजगो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। कृष्णेरखण्डितो भवतु मे। ओ कृष्ण त्वं मे आश्रयः। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. I can't hear you. Very soft. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Yugadharma ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. So thank you very much for having us over today, Prabhu. And thank you always to Tanya Mataji for making all the introductions and connecting all of us together. It's really nice. Actually, this wonderful chanting, reading, studying, these spiritual programs, they're actually not new. They have been our tradition for thousands of years. The only problem is we have lost touch with them. And the reason why we've lost touch with them is because we've not really put aside time for spiritual life. That's the problem. And we don't realize that half of our time is gone in material life. And we're all intelligent. And we understand actually that matter will never exist permanently. We know that the nature of matter is temporary. And we know, one of the most important things we know, but we may not realize, there's a difference between knowledge and realization, is that nothing will last, especially that which comes into this world. So if nothing is going to last forever, why do we invest so much energy into it to the detriment and the exclusion of our spiritual life? That's the point, you see. The Gita, our scriptures, they never tell us not to perform material activities, but they tell us to spiritualize our material activities. That's the key. But you cannot spiritualize your material activities until you have the requisite spiritual consciousness. Otherwise, there's no storehouse from which you can take spirit to spiritualize matter. And that storehouse can only come on the basis of knowledge. Just like you've all become very experts and well-to-do in your fields because you have amassed a certain amount of knowledge, the problem in spiritual life is our knowledge is lacking. And the reason why knowledge is very often lacking is because we don't spend enough time with our scriptures. The Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, we don't study them. And if you don't study it, how will you know what you're doing? 90% of rituals that are being done today in the name of Hinduism don't even have a basis in our scriptures. They're just done because somebody did it and then we do it and then our parents did it and we ask them, why are they doing it? They say, never mind, my grandfather did it, you do it. And we have no understanding of why we're doing it. And when you don't know why you're doing something, then in Bhagavatam, and Bhagavatam is very hard-hitting, that is the definition of foolishness. When we do something but we have no clue why we are doing it, that is the definition of foolishness. So Bhagavatam is very clear. It is a very honest scripture. And it tells us to our face that we really have to wake up. Time is running. And yet we have spent half of our lives spending so much time with matter and having very little time with spirit. That is the problem. In this entire Kartik Mass, right, which is ending, between the cusp of yesterday and today, right, Damodar month is a very important time for all our scriptures and for all of us, because it is a time when we remember very important principles of devotional service, bhakti. And you can see here this beautiful murti of Mother Yashoda. She is actually tying Krishna, right? And this is the basis of the entire remembrance of the Lord during this time of the year. And this pastime of Krishna is very nicely explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There is one very unique quality of God that you and I don't have, and that is the quality of Swarat. Swarat in Sanskrit means independence, and Swarat means fully independent. Many of us, we want to believe we are independent. Sometimes we want to exert our independence. But if you look at your life, you'll realize that you are very often not very independent. We are dependent on so many factors, circumstances, people, family. Sometimes to get something going, we are dependent on so many things before it can fall into place, right? Like if you want to organize a program, you cannot be independently free to organize it. You have to make sure so many factors fall in place, people are ready, everything is done, and then we have a program. So you may exercise your independence, but whether or not you will really be independent is a different story. And if we were really independent, then we are free to be able to control everything that's around us, isn't it? Independence and control, they go hand in hand. If you say you're independent, that means you should have control over everything. But the truth, Shastras tell us, is we have very little control over everything. We may be able to control something to a certain extent, but if we could really be controllers, then we would be free of birth, death, old age, and disease. Because these are the things that all of us really ultimately want to control. We all want to control where we are born and to whom we are born. We do. But Shastras tell us that children have no say to whom they are born. You did not choose your parents. Your parents were chosen by Krishna based on your karma, based on your dharma, and they came. So it is his selection. Similarly, death is also beyond your control. If everyone could control death, nobody would want to die. Everybody would want to continue. But you and I know that death is coming. In the Mahabharata, Yudhishthir Maharaj was asked this question, what is the most wonderful thing in the world? And he replied very well. The most wonderful thing in the world is that every day someone is dying. But those who live sincerely believe that they will live forever. That is the most wonderful thing in the world. And we don't stop to realize that that is what we're doing every day. We think, we'll live forever, or at least we'll live one more day. Everybody else will die, but I will live for a day. But that is the most amazing thing in the world. So birth and death is beyond us. And then there is disease and old age. Nobody wants to grow old, but invariably you're growing old. And as you grow old, only you know the challenges you're facing. Someone may say, oh, don't worry, you'll be all right. But those who are old, they will tell you how much challenging it is. And in between old age and death, you will always have disease. No one is free of disease. And that disease can come in any form, anywhere. Did the world expect COVID? It didn't. And yet it came. Did the world expect the plague in the 14th and 15th centuries? It didn't. And yet it wiped out half of what is known as Europe. So the fact remains, many things are beyond our control. So if we are to reflect on our life today, we should learn to understand that the only thing under our control is actually our free will. And that also a minuscule amount of free will. But you have to use your free will in the right way. Mother Yashoda and Krishna is a beautiful pastime that teaches us free will. Right? The concept of free will and how it is used is beautifully expressed in this pastime. Mother Yashoda woke up on the morning of Diwali, and when she woke up, she dressed herself very nicely, but not with the aim of sitting down and doing nothing. When she woke up, she knew that so many people would be coming for Diwali, and her maidservants were getting everything ready, but her primary desire was to serve Krishna. Krishna was the object of her love, even though he was the supreme personality of Godhead, and he's God. But Krishna was so kind that he related to Mother Yashoda like a little boy. And he was sleeping on the morning of Diwali. So Mother Yashoda woke up, and with single-minded purpose, in Bhagavatam we call that tasmat ekena manasa, right? With single-minded purpose, she decided, let me churn some butter for Krishna. Now, she exercised her free will. She could have decided, why should I do the butter for Krishna? Let someone else do the butter for him, right? I can relax. That's why I have so many maidservants anyway. But in bhakti, you don't outsource your duty and your bhakti to someone else. You can't do that. You can tell someone, please pray for me. But it doesn't mean you can do whatever the world you want and expect that person to pray on your behalf. It's not a proxy thing, right? You don't do that. In bhakti, you have to put in the effort. And your effort can only be put in if it is proportionate to your free will. The more you are ready to put in your heart into something, the more you'll be able to attract Krishna. It's a very simple thing. So Mother Yashoda put all her heart into an apparently mundane activity like churning butter. It was very laborious, but it didn't matter to her because her heart was with Krishna. So when you take up spiritual life, in the beginning it may seem very laborious. Many of the devotees, they chant so many malas of Krishna's names. Sometimes, those who are initiated, for example, they take 2 whole hours a day to chant Krishna's names. And for many people, they will think, how is it possible to spend 2 whole hours in the day just chanting the names of the Lord? But it's very possible. If your free will and your determination is there, it is very possible. Nobody here is gainfully unemployed. Everyone here amongst the devotees are very employed. And yet, they are able to put aside 2 hours for Krishna. It's not very difficult. Our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he gave us a very simple formula for those who are working. He said, half an hour before your meal, you chant 4 malas. And then half an hour before your lunch, you chant another 4 malas. Half an hour when you come back in the evening, just before you eat, you chant another 4 malas. And before you sleep, you chant 4 malas. 16 rounds. You can do it. But it's only a question of whether you want to do it. And want means will, isn't it? So Mother Yashoda wanted to do something for Krishna. And so she laboriously endeavored to churn butter. And because she was doing it with so much of love and remembering Krishna, Krishna was sleeping in the next room, woke up. And he came out and he reciprocated with his mother's effort. And what did he do? He told her to stop churning. And he told her mother, he didn't say it in words because he was very young, but he indicated to her that he was hungry and he wanted her milk. And that was the reciprocation between devotee and God. In Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse, Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. 4:11 of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, to the extent that a devotee surrenders to me, to that extent I reciprocate. This is very important. And Krishna says in that verse, all paths ultimately lead to me. They all lead to me. So therefore, Mother Yashoda was reciprocating with Krishna and Krishna was reciprocating with Mother Yashoda. See, today we have come to the house of Prabhu and Mataji. Why? Because it's on the basis of loving reciprocation. Otherwise, it's not like Prabhu put a gun to my head and said, you have to come. Right? We came because there is loving reciprocation. So Mother Yashoda reciprocated with Krishna and Krishna asked her to feed him. And so as she was feeding him, she was very happy because it was milk meant for him. But then she had a dilemma. She had put milk on the stove in the kitchen. And that pot of milk was threatening to boil over. And that milk was also meant for Krishna. It was meant for Krishna. And so it was Mother Yashoda's duty to save it. So she thought, I must save that milk for Krishna. But if I put him down, he will not be very happy because he hasn't fully fed. So this is what I will do. I'll put Krishna down and I'll quickly run inside and then hopefully I'll be able to come back in time. So Mother Yashoda put Krishna down and she went into the kitchen. The moment she saved the milk that was meant for Krishna, when she came out, Krishna wasn't there. In the meantime, when she had gone into the kitchen, Krishna was very upset with his mother. He felt, how can Mother Yashoda put me down when I haven't finished feeding? I'm going to punish Mother Yashoda. And so like a little boy would throw a tantrum, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, behaving like a little child, took up a stone and broke the pot that Mother Yashoda was laboriously churning butter. And all the butter came out. And Krishna took the butter. See, Shastras tell us something very important. Remember, I started off by saying the word Swarat. Krishna is free. Krishna may be a little boy, but he's also God. And he's free to take whatever that a devotee is doing for him. Mother Yashoda was churning butter for Krishna. And actually she wanted Krishna to eat the butter. But then Krishna wanted her milk. But Krishna also wanted the butter. So by sending her into the kitchen, Krishna also decided that this is a chance for me to take the butter also. So nothing you do in devotional service is actually at a loss. Please remember that. It may look like the butter pot was broken, but the goal of the butter churning was to feed Krishna with butter. And ultimately Krishna ate butter. So the objective was fulfilled. Sometimes people say when you take up bhakti, it means that you have to sacrifice so many things. You sacrifice your time, your social life, so to speak, because you spend time with God. You spend time thinking about God. You spend time in the company of devotees. It's a different company. So you're going to lose out. But factually speaking, devotees will tell you that they never feel like they have lost anything. Because whatever gaps there are in our lives are well filled by Krishna. In the ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ananyas chintayantu mam, ye janaha paryupasate, tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahami. He says, to those who are exclusively devoted to me, I give them what they lack and I preserve what they have. So actually a devotee doesn't lose anything, and there is no loss in devotional service. Do you know in Bhagavad Gita there's a very interesting principle that wherever you have stopped in your bhakti in your previous life, wherever you have stopped, if you come to this life, where you have stopped will be the starting point of your journey in bhakti. It will not be lost. So if we are gathering today here, it is not by accident. It is by arrangement. If you are meant to hear these shlokas from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, if you are meant to hear this from Srimad Bhagavatam, then it is not arbitrary. Neither is it random. It is perfectly arranged by Krishna. So you see, Krishna is not only independent, but he is fully in control. We may think we are, but he is in control. So Mother Yashoda did not realize that Krishna satisfied her desire of churning butter and took her milk, and now he decided he will run away from her. So when Mother Yashoda came, she thought Krishna's run away because he knows that if he was here, I will become upset with him because he stole butter. And Mother Yashoda was thinking to herself, today is Diwali day, but I think I have to discipline Krishna. So I'll take a stick and I'll go and see him. And hopefully it will deter him from stealing butter again. Because Krishna had a reputation in Vrindavan. The reputation of Krishna in Vrindavan was he was a thief of butter. Every house he would steal butter. And he loved butter so much that every time he stole butter, all the gopis in the house would come and complain to Mother Yashoda. They would say, Mother Yashoda, your son came to my house and he stole butter. Don't you have butter in your house? And Mother Yashoda would say, I have tons of butter. Then why does he come to my house and steal it? And like that, they would bring Krishna before her. And Mother Yashoda would say, Krishna, did you steal butter? And Krishna would have butter all over his mouth, on his hands, everything. And he would look at his mother and say, Mother, I swear to you, I never stole butter. And he would read right in front with butter all over. And Mother Yashoda's heart would melt. And all the gopis who came first, their hearts would melt also. Because in all their hearts, every gopi desired that Krishna should come to my house and he should take my butter. They felt this love for Krishna. And so Krishna actually did that. So you see, when someone in the material world is labeled a thief, we are not celebrating it, are we? We don't. But in the spiritual world, when God becomes a thief, we celebrate it, we laugh, because it is spiritual. It doesn't have the innate qualities of matter. It is a different ball game altogether. So Mother Yashoda ran into the room, the storage room where Krishna was. And she was very worried because the storage room had pots. They were high up and she thought Krishna wouldn't reach them. Look at Krishna, he's very tiny. But she saw an amazing sight. She saw that Krishna was standing on the mortar. He was tiptoeing and he was breaking pot after pot of butter. It was like a rampage. And Krishna was spilling butter all over the store. But he wasn't alone. His good friends in Vrindavan, the monkeys of Vrindavan, they came and they were having a feast of their life. Krishna was feeding them lovingly. They were feeding Krishna lovingly. And Mother Yashoda was at the corner with the stick watching. But what she did not realize was that these monkeys were not ordinary monkeys. And the transaction between the Lord and the monkeys was not a material transaction. In this material world, 90% of the time when we do pray to God, we pray with a material motive. We always say, God, I need something. It's that time of the year, please pray for me. I hope I get a good job, good wife, good house. My children will do well in their studies. It's very transactional. It's very conditional. But true love is not about asking and asking and asking. What about giving? Where's that part of it? There's no giving. The giving is only the time when you're asking for something. That's not really giving. That's asking and using your time. So that's conditional love. But the love of the devotees for Krishna is very different. It is known in Bhagavatam as ahaituki apratihata. Ahaituki means they approach Krishna without condition. Krishna, whether you give me material riches, wealth or whatever, I'm not interested. There's a beautiful prayer by a great devotee, Vritrasur. He's a demon, but he's a devotee at heart. And he says, Nanaka prishtam, nacha parameshtam, na sarva bhaumam, na rasadipatyam, na yoga siddhir, apunar bhavamba, samanjasadva, virahaya kangshe. He says so beautifully, you hear a lot of na, 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 na. He doesn't want anything. He says that I don't want to be ruler of any of the 3 planets. I don't even want any kind of siddhi or power. I don't want any riches or wealth from you. And I don't even want liberation or moksha, which everybody thinks is the end goal. I don't want all this. All I want is an opportunity to always serve you. Life after life after life. These monkeys were the Vanaras in Ram Leela. They served Lord Ram. And when the battle with Ravana was over and Lord Ram triumphantly returned to Ayodhya, he turned to the Vanaras and he asked them, ask me a boon, anything you want and I will give it to you, because you have dedicated your heart and life in serving me. And the monkeys said, we don't need anything from you, Lord Ram, because whatever that is needed, if you think it is necessary for us, you will supply. If you think it is not necessary for us, why would you give it to us? So actually Krishna knows exactly what you need. But the problem is, we don't run after Krishna for needs. We run after Krishna for wants. And like a kind father, he doesn't give us wants, because wants are desires. And the more ichcha you have in this material world, the more karma bandhanaha. You become more and more bound to this world. So Krishna was very happy as Lord Ram when he heard this beautiful bhakti of the Vanaras. And he promised them that when I come back again to this world, you will come back. And I will give you an opportunity to serve me, and I also want an opportunity to serve you. Now remember, we started with the point of independence. The monkeys could have exercised their free will. They could have asked anything and Lord Ram would have given them. They would have. Do you know, when Vibhishana asked Lord Ram, what would have happened if Ravana had surrendered to you? What would you have given him? Do you know what he says? He says, I would have given him Ayodhya. I would have given Ravana Ayodhya if he surrendered to me. So Krishna can give anything you want. But the point is, the devotee never takes advantage of that, because he knows that Krishna will give you material benedictions, but benedictions have their own karmas. But if you want Krishna, if you want bhakti, that has no karma. That will give you true peace. That will give you true satisfaction. That will give you true bliss. And so Krishna came. Lord Ram came as Krishna. From Treta Yuga, he came to Dwapara Yuga. And all the monkeys came, and they came into this Leela, into Vrindavan Dham. And they served him, and in this pastime, he served them too. What a beautiful exchange of love. Until they saw Mother Yashoda. When they saw Mother Yashoda with the stick, they thought, all right, exchange is over, now we have to run. And only Krishna was left. Krishna turned around and saw his mother. He loves his mother. He would run after his mother every day. He wouldn't leave his mother. But when he saw the mother and the stick, then he thought, I am in trouble. And he started running away from her. And Mother Yashoda thought, oh my God, in the morning I was laboriously churning butter. Now I have to laboriously run after him. This Krishna is too much, but I have to catch him. And so Mother Yashoda started running all around the house, trying to catch Krishna. And every time she thought she caught a dhoti of Krishna, Krishna was half a meter away. And every time she thought she almost caught his hand, he was half a meter away. And after a while, Mother Yashoda became very tired. And she thought, if I don't catch Krishna, he's going to be a very delinquent. And then I can't do anything. So in that mood, Mother Yashoda, exercising her free will, she said, Krishna, please stop running. I'd like you to just stay still so I can catch you. And at that point of time, when Krishna heard the love, the devotion, and the unconditional surrender of Mother Yashoda, he decided, let me surrender to her and let me be caught. And Krishna, whom yogis are trying to catch, whom great sages and munis are trying to catch, whom even the great rishis are trying to catch. Even the demons are trying to catch Krishna. But none of them can catch Krishna without his mercy. But Krishna's mercy was given to Mother Yashoda because she exercised her free will in such a way that it was devotional. It was not material. And therefore, as a mother would love her child, she caught Krishna. But when she caught Krishna, she became very perturbed because Krishna was very scared of mother. Look at him here. His hands are together. He looks very, very shy and afraid of his mother because of the stick. And so Mother Yashoda thought, this is very bad. I don't mean to trouble Krishna in this way. Bhagavatam tells us Krishna was crying. The kajal and the ointment that he had in his eyes, they were flowing. His bangles and chains and jewels were shaking because he was very afraid. And Mother Yashoda said, Krishna, I'm not going to beat you. I'm going to put the stick down. But you're very naughty. I have to tie you. So stand still next to the mota and I will tie you. And so Krishna stood still. The Supreme Lord is independent. No one can bind Krishna because he's free. Mother Yashoda took the ropes and she brought it before Krishna. But she found that the ropes were 2 fingers short. She got more rope and she brought it around Krishna. It was still 2 fingers short. And she brought as much rope as she could. And it was still 2 fingers short. And she thought, this is not logical. Krishna is not an obese child. He's not very big. A little bit of rope should be very easily, go around him. But it wasn't the case. And then she thought, this is too much. She went to her neighbors and said, give me more rope. And the neighbors all came and watched this wonderful pastime. And Mother Yashoda, for the 3rd time in the day, she decided, Krishna, I cannot tie you. But I have tried very hard. You please allow yourself to be tied, and then I will tie you. And when Krishna heard the loving humility, the attention, the devotion, and the surrender of Mother Yashoda, he then surrendered to Mother Yashoda. In Bhagavatam, surrender means sharanam. Sri Krishna sharanam samasta jagatam krishnam vina ka gatihi. Without Krishna, there is no other destination. Krishna is our only shelter, and he is the true source of our surrender. So Mother Yashoda recognized Krishna as the source of her surrender. She recognized him as her shelter. The word shelter in Bhagavatam is sharanyam. Sharanam is surrender. Sharanyam is shelter. Very often when we surrender to a shelter. Like if you're young, you surrender to your mother or your father. When you are working, you defer, maybe not surrender, but you defer to someone who is of better experience. It's life. So therefore, Bhagavatam tells us everyone is surrendering in this material world at some point or the other. Everybody. Husband surrender to wife, otherwise they don't get enough food on the table. Wife surrender to husband, otherwise they may not get something that the husband is capable of giving. Friends surrender to each other all the time because I want something from you, you need something from me. Surrender is going on in this material world. But to whom you surrender is very important. If you surrender to someone who is not worthy of surrender, then he is in the net, you are in the net, and you're both caught. But if you surrender to that Supreme Lord, who is the source of all shelters, Paramparayanam, then he is through Sharanyam. And that is what happened here. And that's why Mother Yashoda was able to bind Krishna. The 2 fingers that we talk about in Bhakti represent 2 components of spiritual life. The first component is your endeavor. In Bhagavatam, it is known as Grinatascha Swachestitam. Swa means it must be your own personal endeavor. And that means it must be your heart. The more you put your heart into an endeavor, the more Krishna will reciprocate. Sometimes we do something, but our heart is not in it, isn't it? Even in the material world, you will know if someone's doing something, but their heart is not in it. Supposing you're engaged in a conversation with someone, he just says, ha, 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 but you know his heart is not in it. Then what happens is you lose focus or you lose interest. But if someone is really putting their heart into it, you become very attracted to that conversation. The same thing goes for God. If you put your heart into spending time with him, he will spend time with you. He will. Don't forget, Krishna is time and time is Krishna. If you give time to Krishna, Krishna expands time for you. When people say, Prabhu, I'm very sorry, but I don't have time for spiritual life. It's a contradiction. If time is Krishna, why would he not give you time for spiritual life? He will. But you don't have faith that he is time. That is the problem that stops us from coming to Krishna. So endeavor. Endeavor leads to surrender. And the last rope of this pastime is the last inch of this pastime of the rope is actually is Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy completes the cycle. Remember, we started today by saying we think we're all independent. But if we are really independent and we can control everything, how is it that everything we want to control cannot be fully controlled? Who is really in control? In Bhagavatam, they say this very interesting thing. I'm sure you all have had that situation. Have you been in a situation where you suddenly lost your wallet in the street? And you think, oh my God, the chances of me losing it and finding it is minuscule. And of all things, you find it. Have you had a situation where you keep something at home very safely? And for the life of me, I can't find it. It's happened. It's happened. My father routinely does this. He keeps something so safe that he forgets where it is. You know, in one way, he will rationalize by telling me, no, it's very safe because I've forgotten where it is. But it's a disaster because you don't know where it is. You know, but you have been in situations where you've lost something and you thought, no hope, it's never going to come back. But somehow it comes back. This is Krishna. Bhagavatam says, this is Krishna. You are not in control. Krishna is in control. That is mercy. That is mercy. So this is a beautiful pastime of Krishna and Mother Yashoda as related in Bhagavatam. And what I've given you is exactly what is found in Bhagavatam. There is no embellishment, there's no add-ons, there's no subtractions. But because Bhagavatam is repeated 10%, it becomes effective. Because I'm not speaking it. It is actually coming from Krishna. And therefore the potency is always there. That's why you can hear it very attentively. Not because of the speaker, but because the source is very pure. When the source is pure, whatever you hear will always stay with you. When the source is material, for a while it will be nice, and then it will go. If this was a social function and there was no Krishna, there was no Bhagavatam, there was no lighting of lamps, our entire atmosphere will change. We will be restless, we will move from point to point, we will engage in frivolous conversations. Someone will come and tell you his leela or his pastime. I did this yesterday, he did this yesterday. You politely hear, but you'll be wondering, when can I go to the next person? Because their leelas are not very interesting. Krishna's leelas you can hear over and over and over. We've been hearing this for so many days. We started this on 15th of when? October. Right? We started this 15th of October. Collectively as a congregation, we have done 138 programs in houses, just over the month. Right? Everybody has been doing programs. We just speak the same thing over and over again. Tanya Matri, you heard this, right? You've been hearing it for years. But every time you hear it, it is as fresh as the day you heard it before. Because Krishna is known as Nava Yauvana. Nava Yauvana means ever fresh and never changing. So the best thing you can take back from this is that this is the time to seriously think about spiritual life. Material life is going, gone. That's what's going to happen. But spiritual life is the bridge between this world and the real world of spirit. And if you give this to your children, they will grow up so strong because they don't need education and money and wealth to prop them up. Because no matter how educated you are, you're all educated and you are still working, but your blood pressure is still going up. Education has not helped bring your blood pressure down, right? Don't think the man without education, he can't sleep in the night. High network individuals are suffering more from insomnia than the simple man on the street. That's a fact. Every time I meet clients and I bring them to court and we have a court trial and they got millions of dollars, they can't sleep. They can't sleep. It's a fact. So it is a fallacy to think that all the riches and wealth in the world and all the education is going to give you everlasting peace. It's not. It is spiritual life that will give you peace. I have seen children growing up, right, in the tradition of studying and understanding Krishna and being attached to Krishna. And I've seen them being tested at the most difficult times and junctions of their life. But because of their faith in Krishna, they come out unscathed. They come out firm, strong, and they are ready for the next challenge. This is our legacy. This should be our legacy. So thank you very much for your time. Any questions? Yes, Mataji. Yes. Okay. Bhishma Panchat. For some of you, you may know, the last 5 days of the Kartik month are very, very special months. The last 5 days are days known as Bhishma Panchat. It is a time when we go into a different kind of fast. The fasting is a little bit more intense, but more important than the fasting, which can sometimes be a ritual, is why there is Bhishma Panchat. The last 5 days of Kartik month is very special because Bhishma Dev was lying on the bed of arrows after the 10th day of the Mahabharata war, if you recall, right? So what happened was, as he lay on the bed of arrows, he began fixing his mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. He put his thinking, his feeling, his willing into the lotus feet of Krishna. And at that point of time, he started fasting and he started remembering the Lord. And so at that time, Bhishma Dev's prayers come out. And that 5 days are known as Bhishma Panchat. So in Bhagavatam, in the first canto, 9th chapter, all the prayers of Bhishma Dev are spoken in front of Krishna and the Pandavas who came to see him for advice. You've seen this in Mahabharata and all. And that time is the time when Bhishma Dev is glorifying Krishna. And so Bhishma Dev is a great warrior, but Bhagavatam says he's also a Mahajan. Mahajan means a great devotee of the Lord. Though he appeared to be immersed in all the material activities of the Mahabharata affairs, but at heart he was always a devotee. And so Bhishma Panchat represents, the glorification of the Lord through the great devotee known as Bhishma Dev. Is that all right, Mataji? Mm-hmm. So shall we light the lamps? Are we ready to light lamps? Huh? So Mataji and Prabhu, I don't know whether you shared the Damodar Ashtakam? Yeah. Okay, great. Very good, very good. So please, this is the time for us to chant Damodar Ashtakam. It's a very beautiful prayer, very easy to chant, and it actually describes all of this pastime that we chanted today. So it's very nice if you chant it. So what we'll do is, I think a few devotees will come forward and they will light the lamps. The rest of us should just continue chanting. And what should be our prayer? Our prayer should be, Krishna, somehow or another, please engage me in your transcendental loving service. Service is the best form of worship of the Lord. And if we pray for that, it would be really nice. Let's do that. Namo Ishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasakundahalam Go Kule Brajamahaya. Your turn. Nama Ishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasakundahalam Go Kule Brajamahaya. Nama Ishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasakundahalam Go Kule Brajamahaya. Hari Bol. Nama Ishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasakundahalam Go Kule Brajamahaya. Yashoda Biyolu Kaladhavamanam Param Vishtamadhyam Tato Drutya Gopya. Yashoda Biyolu Kaladhavamanam Param Vishtamadhyam Tato Drutya Gopya. Rudantam Muhurnetra Yugmam Rijantam Karamboja Yugme Nasatam Kanekam. Muhurnetra Yugmam Rijantam Karamboja Yugme Nasatam Kanekam. Muhu Swasa Kampa Trirekha Kakanta Smita Daivam Damo त्रिरेखाककण्ठा स्थितदैवं दामोदरं भक्तिभागम् इति दृक्स्वलीलादि आनन्दकुन्दे स्वघोषं निमाजन् तमख्यापयन्तम् इति दृक्स्वलीलादि आनन्दकुन्दे स्वघोषं निमाजन् तमख्यापयन्तम् तदीशितान्येषु भक्तैर्जितार्थम् पुनः प्रेमहतस्तं सता वृत्तिवन्दे येषितान्येषु भक्तैर्जितार्थम् पुनः प्रेमहतस्तं सता वृत्तिवन्दे वरं देवः मोक्षं न मोक्षवदिमम् न चान्यं वृणेऽहं देवः मोक्षं न मोक्षवदिमम् हरि हरि चान्यं वृणेऽहं इदं देव पूर्णाथ गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्यां विरस्तां किमन्ये नाथ गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्यां विरस्तां किमन्ये निदन्ते मुखाम्बोजम् अद्यन्तनीलम् मृतं कुन्तलैस्मि दरतैश्च ते मुखं भोजम् अद्यन्तनीलम् मृतं कुन्तलैस्मि दरतैश्च मुहुश्चुम्बिकं मे भरतादरं मे मनस्या विरास्तम् अलं लक्षलाभे मुहुश्चुम्बिकं मे भरतादरं मे मनस्या विरास्तम् अलं लक्षलाभे नमो देवाय दामोदर अनन्तविष्णु प्रसीदा प्रभो दुःखजलाब्धिमग्ने हरि बोल नमो देवाय दामोदर अनन्तविष्णु प्रसीदा प्रभो दुःखजलाब्धिमग्ने कृपा दृष्टि दृश्या दिनं बतानु ग्रहादेश मामज्ञमेदाक्षिदशया कृष्यातिदिनं बतानु ग्रहादेश मामज्ञमेदाक्षिदशया कुबेरात्मजौ बद्धः मुख्यैव यातम् त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभजौ कृतौ च कुबेरात्मजौ बद्धः मुख्यैव यातम् त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ नमो शीघ्रहो मे स्थिरमोदरेह हरि बोल नमस्ते स्तु धाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदराय तविश्वस्य धाम्ने स्तेस्तु धाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदराय तविश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीला देवाय तुभ्यं नमो राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीला देवाय तुभ्यं नमो राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीला देवाय तुभ्यं राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीला देवाय तुभ्यं Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Bol Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Bol Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Holy names Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Holy names Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Damodara Yashoda Damodara Jaya Yashoda Mata ki Jaya Vrindavana Dham Jaya Vrindavana Dham Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki, Jai Shri Yashoda Damodar ji ki, Jai Shri Shri Radha Damodar ji ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. So I hope everyone offered lambs to their satisfaction. Prabhu and Mataji, thank you so much for having us. And I want to thank everyone for taking trouble and time. I want to thank your mother for being here. It's so nice to see everybody here. And please remember, this is not accident. We all come together because Krishna wants it. And now all we have to do is take this back and do something about it. That's the key. I wish you all the best for whatever's left of this year. And I wish you all the best for whatever's coming next year. But if you take up the process of chanting, very simple. It's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You're allowed to say it. It's not something that is so pure that you can't say it. In fact, in whatever state of mind, whatever state of being, you are allowed to chant this mantra. Most mantras you have to be very pure. You have to be free of onion and garlic and fish and meat and eggs. Then only you can chant those mantras. Otherwise, you chant them and they have very bad effects. But the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in Kali Yuga, in whatever state of condition you are in now, you can still chant it. It will purify you. It's like you go and take a bath, you don't give the soap a bath, do you? The soap is a cleansing agent. It cleanses you. So the Maha Mantra is like that. It has the potency, but you must start chanting. Chant in any situation. Good. Thank you, Mataji. We have got books. We have got the Bhagavad Gita. All the shlokas I chanted, right? They're all from the Gitas. And we have pocket editions right behind you. I've put a few there. Please take them, right? If you want to take one, that's good. If you want to take two because you have a friend whom you think you should give it to, please give it as a gift, right? These books are very, very precious. They change so many of our lives. And they are in very simple English. Children read these books as their source of transcendental knowledge. So take them back as a gift. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.